Hey friends, Ash here with Gents, and today I've got an unboxing first impression video for you guys of Reyane Tradition, some of the new fragrances that they've released. Most of you out there are going to be aware of Reyane Tradition because of the Insurrection line. So that's Insurrection Pure, which is a clone of Aventus, Insurrection Pure Extreme, Insurrection Dark, Insurrection Wild. That's where most of you are going to know Reyane Tradition from. But today, we're going to be talking about their new lines of fragrances, which are supposed to be higher-end niche fragrances. Now, I did ask Reyane Tradition if these are supposed to be inspired by fragrances or clones, or if these are supposed to be just completely original. And from what they have told me, these are supposed to be completely original releases. I've got 4 fragrances to open and do first impressions for you guys on today. We've got Masculine Kingdom, we've got Queen Forever, and then in these very large boxes, one of these is called Volver and one is called Legacy. I'm gonna open these up for you guys, like I said, show you the presentation, show you how these look, how they feel in my hand, if they feel like they're high quality or not, and then I'll give it a spray and let you guys know how they smell. So let's go ahead and jump into this. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, most of you guys probably are aware of Reyane Tradition because of that Insurrection line, which is very affordable if you pick them up from discounters in the $20 range per bottle typically. These are much more expensive. The 2 fragrances I have that come in packaging like this are from their Privé line. So Reyane Tradition's Privé line or private line of fragrances, and these are $100 on Reyane Tradition's website. And the ones that come in boxes like this are from their Les Eternals collection. And these go for $120, so they're a little bit more expensive. Obviously, that means these are much more pricey than what you would typically associate with Reyane Tradition. Hopefully, these fragrances inside these packages are worth that price, and I'm gonna let you guys know that once I get into these. Obviously, I need to let you guys know that these were sent to me by Reyane Tradition for review, but that doesn't affect what I tell you whatsoever. If I don't like these fragrances, I will definitely let you know, and if these remind me of any other fragrances out there, I'll definitely let you know that as well. There is a code associated with this video. It's Gents, just G-E-N-T-S. If you use that code, you get 20% off of any bottle that you purchase from Reyane Tradition's website, and there's a link to that website in the description below. The plan is to use tester strips here because I'm already wearing a fragrance, but if one of these comes off, like I should probably spray it on skin just to be certain of something, we'll make do and I'll spray it somewhere. And these are not the only fragrances in these collections. They just picked 2 at random from each collection and sent them to me. I didn't actually say, I want this one and I want this one. They just sent random ones to me. So the first one I'm going to open, Queen Forever, is a fragrance for women. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that one out of the way because I know most of the viewers on my channel are men. And I have the full line of this Privé line pulled up on my phone here so I can go over the other ones with you. There's Santal Absolu, Queen Forever, which is this one, Escale à Capri, Rive à la Belle Étoile, and if I'm pronouncing these incorrectly, I apologize, Aurora Boreale, and Voyage Festif, and then Masculine Kingdom. This is slightly similar to what you're going to find in the Dior Privé line of fragrances, at least in terms of the outer packaging, where it's kind of a tube, and then you lift up, and the fragrance sits down inside there. You'll find that with the Dior Privé line of fragrances. And then on the front here, it just says Queen Forever Reyane Tradition Paris. So there's a good look at the front. And then there's the Reyane Tradition logo on the top here. And then your information on the fragrance is going to be on the bottom of the packaging. One thing that's interesting about these is that these are 85 milliliters in size, not your typical 100 milliliters, not 50, not 75, 85. Here is the bottle. It does look pretty nice. It looks like the label might be ever so slightly crooked on it. And then on the inside of the packaging here, it's got a little bit of felt, or what feels like felt there. The packaging is simplistic, but it does not look bad. It actually looks similar to something that you might find on like a Givenchy or something like that, their higher end fragrances. It looks a little bit similar to that. There's a good look at the front of the bottle. You can see here it's a very thick glass. You got the Reyane Tradition logo right up here up top. It's pretty simplistic, but it does look nice. This is a magnetic cap, but you definitely 100% should not pick this up by the cap. This is not going to hold the bottle. So let's go ahead and give this one a spray. That's not a bad atomizer. It's got a good ease of use. You can press down very easily, control the amount that you're spraying out, but it does atomize very heavily. So this is not one where you're gonna get a big stream. It's going to be just kind of a light mist wherever you spray it. So yeah, this is 100% a feminine fragrance. It's fresh, it's refreshing, floral. Yeah, I mean, it's a fine fragrance for a woman. There are a number of notes in this fragrance. There's citrus up top, a very noticeable jasmine, bits of rose, but more jasmine than rose, much more, and a little bit of peach. Yeah, I mean, it smells nice. Obviously, it's not a fragrance that I myself would wear, but it's a nice enough smelling fragrance for a woman. A little bit out of my wheelhouse in terms of what I typically review or talk about, so just leave that as is. Next up is Masculine Kingdom. I'm not going to show you the packaging here up close because it's the same as the previous, only with a different name. To be honest with you guys, I would have preferred two masculine fragrances or unisex or whatever, but this is what we got. This is what we're rolling with, and it is kind of like a play on like a fantasy or something, right? Like Queen Forever, Masculine Kingdom. It's like some Middle Earth type stuff going on here. So here's a good look at the bottle, Masculine Kingdom, and you can see that blue coloration that goes all the way through the glass. I am intrigued. It does come off like a blue fragrance, which I guess you might be able to guess that just by looking at the bottle here. It smells good. I actually like that. So there is just a whole mess of citrus in the top here. The notes, I believe, have basically every type of citrus under the sun. Honestly, there's just an absolutely ridiculous amount of notes for this fragrance in general. There are so many notes that you're almost kind of left shaking your head like, what exactly are you trying to do here? There's mandarin orange, grapefruit, bergamot, lime, lemon, I think, in the opening. The mid, when I looked that up, there were like 15 notes or something. Melon, apple, blackcurrant, coriander, cardamom, star anise, peppermint, nutmeg, pink berries, black pepper, Egyptian geranium, jasmine, iris, and neroli. So 14 notes in the mid. And then in the base, there's patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver, labdanum, amber, tobacco, and musk. So there is a bunch going on here. So that citrus pretty quickly starts to kind of die down. You start to get almost this green feeling. Some spices in there with, yeah, just sort of a green vibe, really. There are all those notes in the mid, but I don't necessarily pick one particular thing out or two particular things out. It's like it's all just in there. Green, fresh, a little bit bitter. That's how it's coming across. Yeah, you would think that it would be a lot sweeter because of all that citrus and then the melon and the apple and all this stuff in here. You would think, oh, that's going to be really fresh, something along the lines of like just like a summery, versatile, daytime casual blue scent. But it's going a different direction. It's still fresh. It's just, like I said, it has a bitter green tinge to it. I do like it, but I think it's not as immediately attention grabbing as I thought it was going to be off the top. That citrus combo, it dies down within 3 minutes or so. Next up, let's open up Volver while I let this one dry down a little bit more. Comes with a little Reyane Tradition sticker on top of the sealed box. This is a massive box. So you can see it, the name of the fragrance, Reyane Tradition logo on top, and then all your information on the bottom. So we open this up and there is the actual fragrance box on the inside. So this is just a cover for this right here. So there again, name of the fragrance, name of the collection right there. There it is, Reyane Tradition logo on top. There's your bottom, and let's open this one up. And there it is. Reyane Tradition always has had really nice presentations. Even with Insurrection, or the Insurrection line rather, that's a really nice presentation, especially when you consider the price of that fragrance, or that fragrance line rather. So here is the bottle from Volver. That is an interesting bottle look. You got the Reyane Tradition logo there. On the bottom is your sticker. And this bottle has kind of a gradient, where it's very dark blue and then comes down to clear at the bottom. Cap is magnetic, and that's actually a nice strong magnet. And this bottle is 100 milliliters, so a little bit more than the others. Let that dry down for a second, and I'll go ahead and spray a tester strip as well, just to see if there's a big difference between the two. Again, fresh citrus opening, a little bit of fresh spice. It's described as a fresh oriental woody by Reyane Tradition. My first impression is that it's okay. It's fresher off the tester strip, but it doesn't have a lot of attention grabbing anything going on here. This is just fresh citrus, but the citrus doesn't really sparkle off your skin all that much. It's just kind of, it's okay. It's okay. But this is something that I would expect would be like a $25 fragrance. That's how it smells. Now that's not how it's presented. The presentation here is very nice. Just this opening it's all right. This is sort of body wash territory. Now listen to all these notes here. In the top, bergamot, lemon, lime, grapefruit, coriander, cedar leaf, anise, cardamom, mind. Then in the mid, geranium, pink pepper, black pepper, juniper, and nutmeg. In the base, sandalwood, vetiver, patchouli, oak moss, olibanum, amber, and musk. Ton of notes. It ends up just smelling a bit of juniper, citrus, maybe a little pink pepper, and ultimately ends up coming across like kind of body wash. Now let's crack into Legacy, and hopefully I've saved the best for last here. Hopefully this one is just a stone cold stunner. Same bottle, you can see right here, this one's Volver, this one is Legacy. This one again comes off fresh in the opening. It's a little bit warmer than the last couple that I smelled. Initially I thought it was gonna head toward maybe like a syrupy, sweet kind of territory, but it hasn't. It's got this little bit of sparkle to it. Again, citrus up top. Now, all three of these have had a bunch of citrus off the top, but none of the three have had a citrus that's really bright and realistic smelling or anything like that. It's just this kind of meld of citrus notes all together, and it's hard to pick out which citrus note is the most prominent. So a lot of times you'll have a citrus combo and you'll be like, okay, I get a lot of bergamot here, or I get a lot of lemon, I get a lot of orange, something like that. These, oftentimes it's like citrus. You smell citrus, but then it's hard to say, oh, it's lemon or it's grapefruit. It's just citrus. Now this one has toned down a little bit. That sparkle has died off pretty quickly, and it's starting to sweeten up in a warm kind of fashion, and I think I dig this one the most of the bunch so far. I think part of my frustration here is that these note breakdowns are so full of different notes that you think, wow, it could go all these different directions, this could be some crazy stuff. And then at least so far, it's just kind of like, let me read this note breakdown for you for this fragrance Legacy. A top of lime, orange, bergamot, mandarin, neroli, petitgrain, fig tree, apricot. Mid of black currant, carrot seeds, lavender, iris, violet, white plum, osmanthus, and cedar. And a base of vetiver, cashmere wood, precious musk, and patchouli. I mean, that's a hell of a breakdown. And then you smell it. It's okay, but it's almost like you hear about a movie that's going to have all of your favorite actors, directed by your favorite director. Just, you're like, wow, this could go so many different directions. This is going to be amazing. And then you go see it, and it's just a complete letdown. I'm coming across harsh probably. It's not a bad fragrance. It doesn't smell bad at all. It's just, it doesn't smell like all the things that went into it. It just smells like this fragrance that's a little bit sweet, a little bit dusty, no discernible florals in there. You can't really pick out iris, you can't pick out violet. A little bit of woods in there, you can pick up some of that woodiness, but it's fairly light. Yeah, that's about it. Just like dusty, warm, fruity sweetness, and some woods. there's not that oomph, there's not that attention-grabbing nature. It's just, it's very bland. I feel like this would be the type of fragrance that you would find in maybe like an Original Penguin kind of fragrance. That's what it smells like to me. It smells like an Original Penguin. The Original Penguin fragrances, more specifically, that come with the really terrible magnetic cap, it smells like something that you would find in that line. Maybe a little bit higher quality, but about like that. So guys, this is well after the fact, after these have already dried down, and I just wanted to give a really quick kind of summary on these. Masculine Kingdom, it retains dustiness into the dry down and that little hint of bitter green, and it still is the most interesting of the bunch. In my opinion, it's the most unique of the bunch. And then Volver, that's Legacy. Volver, this one, it fades off my skin very quickly, very quickly. I actually had my wife smell all 3 of these. So I went upstairs, reapplied them for a second time in the same spot. So, you know, a couple more sprays on top of the sprays that were already there. So that means I've sprayed Volver on like 4 times, 5 times on the same spot, and can't smell it. I mean, 45 minutes later, it's gone. So, you know, I can try to give this more wearings and see if that's the case every single time. But this one comes across like body wash, kind of fresh, citrus sort of scent with some sweetness. The issue is it's got no longevity. Best as I can tell, it doesn't project for long, it doesn't last for long. I mean, if that's the case, every time that you wear this, that it's a 45-minute sort of fragrance, then oof, that is rough for 120 bucks. And then Legacy, as this one dries down, you know what it actually reminds me of is something like 1 Million by Paco Rabanne, only without the spice, without the cinnamon, but with the sweetness. So with that warm sweetness, without the cinnamon is kind of a weird way to put it, right? But that's how it comes off. Without the spice, but with all the sweetness, the warm sweetness, but not the projection of a 1 Million. This one is not loud. It lasts more than Volver does, but it is still not a big performer. And I was actually looking at these because you can see a difference in the coloration of the fragrance in there. Maybe that comes through on camera, but this is Volver, this is Legacy. This one looks a little darker. So there we have it. To me, what this almost comes across like is that there's just a lot going on here and it becomes muddled. So instead of the fragrance having a clear direction where you say, this is what I want, this is how I want it to come across, this is what I want it to smell like, this is the idea that I'm trying to get across, this is the situations I want it to be used in. Instead of that, it's like, let's dump 30 notes in there and maybe it'll work. And it just didn't for the most part. They come across muddied or muddled. So instead of having an opening where you've got something grabbing your attention and little nuances playing with it, things giving pops here and there that interest you, it's just like this mass of notes and ingredients and aroma chemicals that hit you and you're like, I don't really know what that is. Had my wife smell all 3. She wasn't impressed. So it's unfortunate. I was hoping that these were really gonna just kill it. And when I saw the presentation, I was like, hey, looks good. You know, it's heavy in your hand, feels good. The atomizer is good, bottle is good. Little touches like the logo on the top there, the magnetic caps, that's a nice touch. Heavy glass. I mean, these do feel like quality fragrances in your hand, and then you spray them on and it's like, it almost seems like they invested everything into the presentation and forgot that there's something that goes inside of the bottle. So there we go. Well guys, that's gonna wrap this up for me. Let me know in the comments below which of these you want me to review, and I'll get on that. Again, link in the description to Reyane Tradition's website. Gents gets you 20% off, and they have lots of other fragrances on there, not just these. This is just a random small sampling that they sent me. Yeah, for sure, this one the most interesting, and I really dig the bottle. I mean, I dig the bottle for all of these, but I think this one's the coolest looking. You agree with me? No? As always, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.